the 14 by 12 foot yardistry Cosco Gazebo. I think that's all. I think that's everything right there. 12 by 14 yardistry Cosco Gazebo by Dad Random and Grandpa Random. This is Dad Random. This is day one of the big gazebo construction project. We just pulled it out of the shed and we've looked through the boxes, had to find the instructions, and we're going to start construction on this spot right here on this pad, okay, which is right over here, and it should cover pretty much most of that pad. 12 by 16 is no, 12 by 14, I believe. We'll correct that in just a little bit. 10 by 14, yeah. So here we go. All right, a little construction day. Probably take us most of the day today. We'll get this sucker up. Maybe a little bit tomorrow. Don't know. Later, Dad Random. Bye. Alright, hey, this is Dad Random. On vacation, and when I go on vacation, I usually build something. So this is the Grandpa John bar shed. So working on a little gazebo project for him. Building it now. This is a pre-build, so it should be kind of fun. It's a little bit tough. We've had a little bit of a challenge putting it together. A lot of parts to this one. Used to making things from parts that I create. This one is basically made of parts created by somebody else in directions written by somebody else. So, but it's been real good. It's been a real challenge, but it's pretty hefty. It's not bad. It's a Cosco project. Got a lot of bolts, a lot of real heavy duty reinforcement, so it's going to be really nice. This one's about it's a 12 by 14, so yeah, 10 by 14. I think it says 12 for the roof, but at the base, at the foot, it's 10. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, day one. Got a little bit of a time lapse. Couldn't do another time lapse because it was hot, and then I was trying to keep a pace, and things happen. So we got a little bit in there. But I wanted to get like the barn raising time lapse. But so far so good. All right, Dad Random. So there's a corner construction, base construction. You can see bottom plate. This will be bolted. But yeah, and just remember, mine's bigger, at least 5 feet. Okay, on vacation, working on bar shed number 2, Grandpa John's bar shed. I guess you call it a gazebo too, but we're gonna drink beer in it. Bye. Alright, today we're working on these roof panels right here. Roof rafter assembly. A couple of things, a couple of notes. One is making sure you line up. These are compound miters. And then making sure you keep your screws marked. So we've got our screws labeled out and laid out. And make sure you connect the 2 fascia parts so you get the correct length. But there are 2 sets of screws in this construction. The ones that connect the corners together, which are basically these 2 1/4 inch wood screws, and then you have 1.5 screws right there. You'll see that connect the flat parts that the metal will connect to when you start putting the tin on, or the roofing material. So there it is right there. And this is what it looks like on the floor. Make sure you have a nice flat area, level as possible. Right there. And you can see how these different compound parts come together there. So these are basically connecting these are about 2 by 1.5 by 1/4 sawn, not quite 2 by 4s. And you've got the structural elements, and then you've got the flat parts. So, all right, so good luck with that. We've got 4 of these to put together today. 4. So 4 of them on the corners, and then we'll look at the construction part, how everything kind of ties together. Here's the way we've got our tools assorted and our boxes laid out. Some of the construction details. They're not perfect, but they should work fine. And the footprint. More box layout. Start to organize numbers. You can see each of them are numbered on the ends. Number them together so you don't have to look so far. You're going to be looking a lot. These are vertical. These are also vertical pieces. The horizontal pieces tend to be thinner, skinnier. Good luck. Alrighty, that's Dad Random. We've got the large roof segment up. This is probably a tricky area right here. You understand that there's two different segments right there and right there, and it meets in the center, so you're going to have that short piece that's in there. Now, the way the screws go, it doesn't have you screwed on both sides, so I basically put screws on from both ends, so sandwiching it together. You've got a square segment on the top, but it pretty much follows the rest of the rules. Just pay close attention to the numbers and the angles, okay? Because you've got basically compound angles coming together. You've got basically 3 different planes, 1, 2, and 3. So right there. So that is piece 1. I'm gonna repeat this piece. There's actually 3 different types of screws in here. These are larger 2.5 inches. Almost all of the other ones, so 2.5 going this way. These are 2.25, and the rest are 1.25 inch. The ones that are pulling the segments together. So far so good on the rafter build. I should have this last one done. My hamstrings are good and stretched out. It's really important that you find a big flat area. This area here is probably, this area that I'm basically working on, let me just flip it over, is probably probably 15 by 10. So about 15 by 10. And it helps to have a really level area. You need a real big flat area. Otherwise, everything is going to be tougher to segment together. But there it is. There's a step, probably is a 3rd set. I'm going to finish the 4th set. And we'll start piecing together the roof pieces in sequence. All right, Dad Random. All right, Dad Random back. Here are 2 of our completed roof panels. So one of the things I suggest is, and pretty much all the material you're going to find, is assembling these. Now these edges are not are kind of tricky, and you have to make sure that you put in the weather stripping. Crossing our fingers that these are okay. You can see the unfinished large side panels and the different, there's a lot of pieces. There's a whole lot of like flashing, and every single piece of metal has a coating of that plastic, so you have to separate it. You can see right there. So far so good. So we're crossing our fingers that, so all the panels will be completed, and right there, and we'll put them up tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning, assuming we don't have. I think we've been at it today probably until about since about 8:30. So we've got quite a few hours in this project. There's two of us, and we're just kind of taking our time. The directions are pretty good, but they're not clear. I suggest to anybody working on this project to check all the videos. There's a lot of good videos, including this one. I mean, there's a lot of little steps that you need to basically adhere to. One is as you fit these steel panels on right here. You don't want to fit them all the way to the edge. You want to bring them back just a little bit. It's okay to overhang at the bottom, but the area you see right here, where these two pieces, you want to leave a gap. And that gap is good because it allows for the four sections to squeeze together without. And you see these edges right here. These edges are there's a piece that's gonna slide just to connect the two sections together. So these kind of like you see how these right here are slid together. So these right here will slide along both edges and create a ridge lock. So anyway, we'll get to that point and then show you how that locks together. But so far so good. Weather's been cooperating, so that's one of the things you want to make. Of course, any labor-saving device is always nice. So all right, so yeah, I think we got every tool out that's possible. But you can see, look at this big space that we're basically in a 3-car garage, and we're utilizing the whole middle of 2 of the bays to set these big sections. And these sections over here are even bigger. They are, 14 feet long by, 10 feet wide. Something like that. All right, Dad Random. Take your time. Look at the fine details, especially where the trim come together. Measure twice, cut once, as a very very famous builder would say. But I would say read twice, and then put it together once. We've only had to assemble these two parts twice. We've had to pull the screws out, readjust the metal sheets, and then screw them back in. Both of them we had to do. So it's just but I think we're good. I think the way we've got them now. Let me show you one thing that's very to me. I mean, I've done a bunch of sheet metal work, and this is not intuitive. Do you see that edge right there? Now, typically that edge is tucked underneath the sheathing, and it protects the ridge of the roof. These do not. So water basically goes down the roof and will basically go between that edge and the metal. To me, that's not intuitive. So anyway, we'll see what happens when we get to the final till we get to the down to the final stretch. So, but it looks like I said, it's really nice build, good good project, but I would say very very advanced as far as the parts and things like that. All right, for Dad Random, we are basically in the day 2 segment of roof construction, and we'll probably go into tomorrow before we can fit any of the panels together and say it's done. So hopefully tomorrow. Crossing my fingers. Later. Bye. This would be day 3. Is it day 3? It's like 90% humidity, smoky, because all the smoke from Canada, that all those wildfires is coming over here. So it's like 90% humidity and 90 degrees, and it's perfect for being under the roof. Isn't that cool? Turned out really good. It's not a one-day project. It's definitely a long weekend. So if you add an extra day, but so we got the roof up. We got everything tied down solid. See all these ties up here? Yeah, let's get that up there. So you see all those ties? Those are all in. So I've got the, and there's only two more boards left. These are basically span ties. They just basically span the roof. Just some strengtheners, give it some extra support. We'll put those up. We haven't tied down the main post to the ground yet, to the concrete. Not yet. We're here, but the roof has got plenty of span ties. And then if you look up this way, see if I can go find. So we got the roof trimmed out. So let me see if we can get it following. It's not behaving here. Let's do this. All right, so there are the roof angles right there. Corner finish. You got a couple little call those personality traits. Everybody puts their own personality in a project. Not too happy with how those trim out, but it's still pretty good. That's just the way they are. That's just the way they trim out. And then up at the very top there, you can see, if you look up there, you've got those little hooks, so you can put something really light from them. There's a bolt that goes all the way into the roof cap. I wouldn't hang anything more than a light fixture up there. Definitely no heavy plants. Those are plastic. Even if they were metal, they would probably bend the top. But if you did want to put something in, you'd probably want to bolt into that header up there. But all right. So there it is, Dad Random. 3 days. 3 days, and we've got shade. Very nice space. So. Let's get that right there. So there he is right there. He's very proud of his new gazebo. But all right, I would say if you had 3 sets of hands, it would help. 2 sets of very, very capable hands, maybe 3 sets. You need a helper, but you can never get too much help on a project like this. All right, for Dad Random, I think we're done for today. Day 4. We've got a couple little extra doodads to do, but it's pretty much done. We might move it a little bit. Don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see next week. Taking some time off later. Bye. There he is right there, hiding behind me. That's Grandpa Random back there. Later. Bye. Grandpa John. All right. Oh, man. All right, so these right here. Don't forget about these. This could be a big bummer if you forget this. These go all the way through the roof and tie to the cap. So don't forget those. Don't get your roof all up and go, oh crap, I forgot, because you can't climb on this roof. You cannot walk on this. This is too thin a gauge of steel. You'll just put your foot marks in it and then it'll suck. But yeah, so here's the other one. Flip that around right there. Just snug these up, and there's bolt in there, and these are just plastic. I don't know why they didn't make these out of metal, but they just snug up like that. There it is, just like that. That one, and now they're lined up all the way. But you can hang your freaking chandelier. If you want to, you can hang your chandelier from up here, but you know, make sure you beef that up. Put a bolt through that or something. Maybe stick a bolt through there, like that. Make sure you put all your ties on. So if you look all the way to that corner right there, you'll notice that there's some ties. There's a couple of metal ties there. Those are tie straps. So they strap down the corner right there on all four corners. Had to do a little modification right there because we screwed that up. What happens is that this is the mistake. See this modification right here? This is where this bolt lined up, and it was right on this rafter tie. So took it off. I re-drilled this and then found a aftermarket bolt and went right into the T-mount. There's a T-mount that pulls that in, and then I threw 4 extra screws in there. So that's the modifications. Other than that, that's about it. That's about, you know, you can't go into a project like that and think that everything is going to go perfect. You have to have a plan B for everything. So, all right, Dad Random. The 14 by 12 foot Yardistry Cosco Gazebo. I think that's all. I think that's everything right there. 12 by 14 Yardistry Cosco Gazebo by Dad Random and Grandpa Random. Successful project. All right. Have a good one. Build smart. Measure twice. Cut once. Says a very important person. Someone very, 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 very much more experienced than me. Later. Bye. And be prepared for Plan B.